Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and I'm going to be doing a Shiranui deck profile. So I'm really excited to speak guys because this deck is an amazing zombie synchro deck that can summon out all sorts of awesome boss monsters and can even synchro summon from the graveyard. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Shiranui Solitaire. Shiranui Solitaire is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck because it has the ability to contribute 1 zombie monster to special summon 1 zombie type tuner monster with 0 defense from your deck to your side of the field, which is an awesome effect to be able to instantly get your copy of Unizombie on your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Shiranui Squire. Squire is a really good 2-of as well for a normal summon in the deck and has an awesome effect that when this card is normal summon, you can special summon 1 Shiranui Spectral Sword monster from your hand or deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except zombie monsters, which isn't that big of a deal in this deck because that's pretty much all we're summoning. And if this card is banished, you can draw a card and then discard a card, which will also help you dig into the deck while also discarding certain zombies that you want in the graveyard to the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Spirit Master. I feel like 1 copy of Spirit Master is totally fine for this deck. It's just a really good 1-of because if this card is banished, you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is the main effect that we actually use with this card. We then play 2 copies of Spectral Sword. Spectral Sword lets us synchro summon from the graveyard, which is really cool about this card. Because if this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 non-tuner zombie monster in your graveyard and banish both it and this card. And if you do, special summon a zombie type synchro monster from your extract, whose level equals the total level of those 2 monsters that had in the graveyard, which is awesome to be able to just basically synchro summon from the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade. This card is a really good 1-of the deck, but you only really need a single copy of this card. It has a really neat effect that you contribute this card and then target 2 of your banished zombie monsters except another copy of this card, including a Shiranui monster, and special summon them defense position, but negate their effects, which is an awesome effect that just gets you 2 monsters on your side of the field so that you can use them to synchro summon or even link summon later on, which is a great effect for this card to have, but it does lock you into zombie monsters. We then play 3 copies of Unizombie. Unizombie is one of the best zombie cards ever printed in the game, and is basically a walking foolish burial for all of your zombie monsters while also being able to increase its own level, which is a great effect. You can also discard a zombie monster to the graveyard to be able to increase this card's level by 1, which is an awesome effect as well that you can use both the effects in the same turn. We then play 2 copies of Doom King Baller Draught. Baller Draught is a walking negate or a walking banish once per chain and once per turn per effect, which is a great thing about this card. And during the standby phase, if there is a face-up card in the field spell zone and this card's in the graveyard, you can just special summon this card in defense position once per turn, which is an awesome effect. This card just keeps coming back to the field as an awesome boss monster. We then play a single copy of Changshi. Changshi is a really good 1-of to summon off your copy of Glowbloom, because it has the ability that during your main phase, you can send a zombie monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, which is usually going to be your copy of Doom King Baller Draught, because you summon this card off your copy of your Glowbloom and then send Doom King to bring back during the following standby phase. We then play a single copy of Al Ghul Mazrah. This card just gives us a bunch of protection in the deck, because it has an awesome effect that if a zombie monster that you control would be destroyed by battle by card effect, you can banish this card from your hand or graveyard instead. And if this card is banished from your hand or graveyard, you can special summon this card in defense position, and then you can reduce its level by 1, which is great just to get you a big monster on your side of the field, with this card having 2,800 attack points. We then play just a single copy of Netherworld Banshee, or Necroworld Banshee. This card is a really good 1-of in the deck. I only feel like you need a single copy of Banshee in this build because it just helps you get to your copy of Zombie World extremely quickly. We then play a single copy of Mad Mauler. Mad Mauler is a good 1-of in here that also counts as Plague Spreader Zombie, which is a great effect for this card to have. And if this card is in your graveyard, you can target a level 6 or higher monster that you control, reduce its level by 2, and if you do, special summon this card to your side of the field, which is a great effect if you'll just get this card on the field. We then play a single copy of Glowbloom. Glowbloom is great in the deck because if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can manage this card from your graveyard to add a level 5 or higher zombie monster from your deck to your hand, or if Zombie World's on the field, you can special summon it instead, which is an awesome effect just to be able to instantly get you a zombie on the field. We then play a single copy of Gozuki. Gozuki is just like your copy of Unizombie, that when this card is on your side of the field, once per turn you can send a zombie monster from your deck to the graveyard, which is a great effect for this card to have. We then play 2 copies of Mizuki. You can banish this card from the graveyard to be able to target a zombie monster in the graveyard and special summon that target, which is an awesome effect just to be able to get your boss monsters back out of the graveyard or key combo pieces back on the field. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Foolish Burial to be able to send our zombies to the graveyard so we can make some really awesome plays. I then play a single copy of Instant Fusion and 2 copies of Ready Fusion. This is so we can summon out our copies of our Sea Monster or our copies of Allvain to be able to synchro summon into some extremely powerful monsters. And just helps us out a lot to get us a tuner monster on the field. I then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Polymerization is an extremely powerful card in this deck to be able to let us fusion our opponent's cards away to be able to summon out and break their board, while also letting us summon out an extremely powerful monster like our copy of Nether Soul Dragon or even Garura from the extra deck. We then play 3 copies of Zombie World. Zombie World is one of the most important cards in the entire deck, because all monsters on the field and in the graveyards become zombie monsters, and neither player can tribute summon monsters except zombie monsters, which is a great effect for this card to have, to just be able to put itself on your side of the field, bring back Baller Drop from the graveyard, and use it with all of our other cards that we have in the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're just going to be playing a few traps, and we're going to start off with 2 copies of Trap Trick. Trap Trick is an extremely powerful card that lets us banish a normal trap from our deck to be able to set one of the same name, but you can only activate 1 more trap for the rest of the turn, which is not the big of a deal because we're playing 2 extremely powerful traps in this deck. We're playing 3 copies of Shiranui style Swallow Slash, which is an extremely powerful card for this deck because it lets you treat a zombie type monster and then target 2 cards on the field and destroy them, and then banish a Shiranui monster from the deck, which can be your copy of Spirit Master that you banish for the deck to be able to get its effect off to pop an additional card. So this card can be a Tribute 1 and pop 3, which is a great effect for this card to have. We then also play 3 copies of Ghost Meets Girl, a masterful Mayakashi Shiranui saga. This card is one of the most powerful cards in the entire deck. It lets you tribute a Mayakashi or a Shiranui synchro or link monster, and neither player can special summon monsters from their hand, deck, or extra deck for the rest of the turn. You can also banish this card from your graveyard and target one of your banished zombie monsters and return it back to the graveyard, which is a really powerful effect for this card to have, especially in this deck, letting you get your cards back to the graveyard so you can synchro summon again like your copies of Spectral Sword. This card essentially turns your opponent's entire turn off for all their monsters, which is really cool. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck and is essentially a 5 of in the deck with our 2 copies of Trap Trick, which is really awesome. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing a single copy of Shiranui Sun Saga. This card is our big boss monster that's super easy to summon to our side of the field. It comes out at 3,500 attack points, which is really awesome. We then play a single copy of Shiranui Shogun Saga. Shogun Saga is really good in this deck, and one of my favorite zombie synchro monsters in the entire game for its art alone, but it has an awesome effect that if this card is special summon, you can banish a zombie monster from your graveyard, and this card gains attack equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of this turn. And if this card on the field is destroyed by battle by card effect and sent to the graveyard, then you can target one of your banished zombie monsters with 0 defense and return it back to the graveyard, which is a really good effect to help you step into some other plays. We then play a single copy of Samurai Saga. This card is basically a stepping stone card to be able to step into some other cards that you might want to summon out, like your copy of Shogun Saga. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Zombie Dragon Lord. This card is really cool to be able to play in this deck, and it just gets absolutely massive on the field. It's basically like a walking Monster Reborn, which is really cool. We then play a single copy of Skeletal Dragon Felgran. Skeletal Dragon Felgran is really good because it's a walking negate. Because if this card is special summoned, you can target one monster that your opponent controls or in the graveyard and banish it, and if a monster is special summoned from either player's graveyard while this card's on the field, except during the damage step, then you can target one other face-up monster on the field and negate its effects until the end of the turn, which combos extremely well with Baller Draw to be able to just use this card's effect. We then play a single copy of Red Eye's Zombie Necro Dragon. Necro Dragon is really good and gets massive, and it's just super easy to summon in this deck. It gains 200 attack or 100 attack and defense for each zombie monster on the field and in the graveyards, and with Zombie World, that's going to be quite a lot of attack points that this card's going to gain. And when another zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can special summon one zombie monster from either player's graveyard to your field, which is an awesome effect for this card to have to just be able to build up your field. We then play a single copy of Archfiend Zombie Skull. This card just gives you some protection because zombie monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, and it's super easy to summon off of Spectral Sword and any level 4 by just basically special summoning this card out with your Spectral Sword's effect. We then play a single copy of Immortal Dragon. This card is a walking Foolish Barrel and can level manipulate itself, which helps you step into a bunch of different synchro plays, and is one of the best cards in the entire extra deck. We're then playing our Super Poly Targets, which is a single copy of Nether Soul Dragon, which with Zombie World on the field, you can use any two monsters that your opponent controls to be able to fusion summon into this card. And then a single copy of Garura, just in case our opponent or we don't have a copy of Zombie World on the field. This card is really good as well in the deck as a Super Poly Target. We then play a single copy of Sea Monster and Alvame. These are our instant and ready fusion targets to be able to summon out to our side of the field so we can have tuner monsters of either a level 5 or a level 2, which is really cool. We play a single copy of Skill Saga Supremacy. This card is a good one of in the deck. You only really need a single copy of this card. It's just a great link monster to be able to summon in this deck. It has a great effect that during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can target one of your banished zombie synchro monsters and special summon it to a zone this card points to, which is a great effect for this card to have. And also, synchro monsters that you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, which is a great effect, and fire monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. We then play a single copy of Avenged Savior. This card is just a great link monster to play in the deck. And then finally, a single copy of Vampire Sucker, because this card just goes really well with our copy of Zombie World. It has the ability that you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position, but it becomes a zombie monster, and if a zombie monster is special summoned from either player's graveyard, you get to draw a card. So basically, every turn you're bringing back your copy of Baller Draw, you're getting to draw a card, which is a great effect. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Shiranui before, I highly recommend it because it just makes really big synchro plays, and now can even shut down your opponent with your copy of Ghost Meets Girl, which is really, really cool. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there soon come part notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.